Hi, this is Swapnil Bhartiya, and we are here at KubeCon in San Diego, and today we have with us Dave Van Everen. You are SVP of Marketing at Mirantis. First of all, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks.
The way I mean, I've been covering Mirantis from very early on, and I've been looking at the evolution of the company itself. From pure play OpenStack companies, now you are becoming a significant player in the Kubernetes space. You
That's
have
right.
announced the beta for Mirantis, Kubernetes service platform.
That's right.
So first of all, I want to understand, what is this CAS about? Explain a bit about the platform itself.
Sure. So, and you're right, we have evolved into an open cloud company. And so we are now launching a public beta for Mirantis Kubernetes as a Service, or CAS as we call it, which really enables developers to deploy their own Kubernetes clusters in a self-service fashion across cloud providers using either a user interface or APIs. So they get the Kubernetes they want with all of the open source cloud native ecosystem technologies coupled with that, and without the hassle that can sometimes come up with Kubernetes or full stack Kubernetes deployments.
Yeah, if you look at Kubernetes, it's not an easy technology to use. There are so many knobs to turn.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, every time I talk to Kubernetes people, they say, no, that's not the goal. To make it simple. It's the audience is totally different. So, what exact problem are you trying to solve for the Kubernetes consumers or users?
Yeah. So what we're hearing is that Kubernetes itself might be easy to deploy, but then to do lifecycle management for Kubernetes and the entire cloud native ecosystem is incredibly challenging, particularly when you're responsible for managing a fleet of Kubernetes clusters or want to integrate the deployment of Kubernetes clusters into a larger DevOps workflow. And so that's what Mirantis CAS provides, is a self-service or automated way to not only deploy those clusters and manage them after deployment, but also provides all of the day two operations and lifecycle management for ensuring that those clusters and the CAS platform itself remain up to date with the latest updates. So it will automatically update itself, taking advantage of some of the features in Kubernetes like rolling upgrades.
And what are the core components of CAS?
So the core components really start with the foundation of Kubernetes. And it's that rolling upgrade capability that provides the ability to do lifecycle management completely automated. So zero touch for operations. But then in addition to that, we layer in things like Calico. We use cloud native storage drivers. So if you're using OpenStack, we use Cinder. If you're using AWS, it's EBS. And if you're using bare metal, it's Ceph. And so we've kind of curated a collection of technology that go along with Kubernetes in typical deployments and package those in a repeatable, predictable package so that developers don't have to worry about wiring all of those things together. They can simply request a cluster and it gets deployed automatically. And from that point on, they're off and running and they can do their development, unit testing, what have you.
How removed it is from the upstream Kubernetes, or do you try to keep it as close as possible?
We absolutely are an open source company, and so our Kubernetes is very close to upstream. It does include some hardening, which is essentially bug fixes and patches that may not yet be available in the upstream code base. But the APIs are entirely based on the Kubernetes APIs. So you can use the kubectl API command to interact with Mirantis Kubernetes clusters. And any extensions that we implement for that API are done using the standard method of extending it through CRDs. So we do have some custom resource definitions that are included in the API, but it's all managed through the same kubectl command.
And as you mentioned earlier that you can run it on any cloud, especially then Mirantis also has Mirantis cloud, right?
Yeah, this one is provided through OpenStack, AWS, and bare metal today. We're using it internally in our own OpenStack-based cloud environment. And so we've had, for the past 6 months, literally hundreds of clusters being created every day across hundreds of employees. I've used it myself, and that's how we've been making sure that the platform is ready to launch today.
It's still, earlier it was in private beta, now it's a public beta. What are you trying to achieve through these beta phases?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So with our private beta, we had hand-selected close customers that we wanted to collaborate with on defining not only the functionality, but validating that it was going to significantly accelerate their adoption of Kubernetes and containers and containerizing applications. And so we've been partnering with our customers during the beta program to achieve those things. With each customer, we defined a specific use case and an objective that we wanted them to achieve during the beta, and then tracked our progress against those. With the public beta, we're now looking for a larger community of people to provide feedback on the software. The public beta period will run for a couple months or so, and during that phase, users will have the ability to submit tickets into our support organization, both to provide feedback as well as receive support for any questions or issues that they run into along the way.
And anybody can sign up for the beta, or they have to be like Mirantis customers?
Anyone can sign up for the beta. It's currently set up so that it will be licensed as a free product. So the way the software is designed, it will include all of the functionality by default, and then there will be a license to unlock a higher level of scale. So all the features are there. It gives people the ability to deploy, for example, 3 clusters with 3 nodes each, 3 worker nodes. And that should give them an opportunity to understand the HA deployment topology that we use, as well as the ability to manage multiple clusters potentially across multiple cloud providers, all for free. And then when they're ready, then they can contact Mirantis for a license that would unlock greater scale and our 24/7 enterprise support or managed operations.
So they can definitely migrate to a full license from this beta.
Absolutely, absolutely. It'll also actually be available for consuming updates. So that's one of the unique differentiators of the Mirantis CAS solution is its ability to automatically consume updates as they become available. And that capability is included in the public beta software. And so as additional updates are provided through the Mirantis Artifactory or repo, the CAS platform will actually automatically consume those and then update itself and make the updates available to the child clusters under its management.
You mentioned that it will be out of public beta in 2 to 4 months or whatever. So do you already have a roadmap, or you are using beta to actually see whether you're ready to release?
We have a release date in mind. Obviously, we want to ensure that the feedback we receive during the beta period is positive, but we do have an expectation for the time frame for when it'll launch and become generally available.
And how will it fit into Mirantis' product portfolio?
So it is the underpinning of everything that we do. Mirantis CAS and Kubernetes in general are the things that our customers and prospects are asking us about today. Every single one of our customers and every prospect is having a conversation with us right now about Kubernetes and some of their challenges around containerizing applications and taking full advantage of Kubernetes. And so we are sensing this shift happening right now with our customer base. And Mirantis CAS is the ideal solution for them to make that shift as seamlessly as possible. Moving forward, we have additional plans to continue to leverage the strengths of Mirantis CAS as a lifecycle management kind of like framework. And so you'll see additional technology from Mirantis being lifecycle managed through the Mirantis CAS toolchain.
So if I look at, if I take a higher level overview of Mirantis, where do you position yourself, within the Kubernetes ecosystem? Because I hear a lot about Kubernetes. You also acquired, Docker Inc.'s, enterprise business unit.
Exactly.
So I want to understand, how are you positioning Mirantis now?
Yeah, that's a great question, very timely. And so the Docker Enterprise acquisition does play into how we see ourselves as a player in the Kubernetes industry. We now feel that we present a cloud-native alternative to some of the, kind of like the industry giants like IBM-Red Hat and VMware that may present a narrower choice when working with an enterprise. So we regard ourselves as on equal footing with those industry giants, and at the same time providing a level of flexibility and choice for both developers and operators that they can't provide.
As we talked a couple of times, that Mirantis has been evolving as their customers are evolving. So we are at the end of 2019. As we go to 2020, first of all, we cannot talk about 5 years from now, what is going to happen.
Right.
So what does your own roadmap look like for 2020? What are the trends that you're seeing that you will be working on?
Yeah, absolutely. So like everyone else here at KubeCon, Kubernetes remains a huge focus for our company. We've been focused on it for a number of years now, roughly 5 years since the inception of Kubernetes. And now we're starting to see that customer momentum and momentum in the market. Coupled with our Docker Enterprise acquisition, we're going to spend 2020 really doubling down on Kubernetes as the underlying platform for everything that we do. And it'll probably take the entirety of 2020 for us to execute on a number of the product initiatives that we have in our roadmap. So Mirantis CAS is just the beginning of something that will take throughout 2020 for us to fully unfold.
Dave, thank you once again for talking to me today and explaining the CAS platform as the same time, Mirantis plan for 2020. And I look forward to seeing you again next year.
Likewise.